all for being here. You may have been bribed to come. You may be related to people here in the orchestra, and you won't get dinner tomorrow night unless you came. I'm not, but we really appreciate you all being here. We have some special things tonight. We have a professional sound guy here who has been working since 2 o'clock this afternoon to make all of this sound work for us. So that means the orchestra can hear themselves and you can hear us better and it'll all be integrated. And we're really grateful to Terry. Thank you so much. And we have a professional videographer here, Fabian, because we've always wanted a video of what we're doing with the orchestra, and it'd be fun for us to watch later and have access to on our website. So we're really happy to have Fabian here. Thank you. And we have two other very special people that we engaged to help us this evening. We have our first ever MC. And so John Sylvester is here. You can read about him in your program, and he is going to guide us through this concert. Thank you for being here, John. And we have Marisol de Anda, who's here, a student vocal performance from San Jose State, who's here to sing with us and get you to sing. And we're really happy to have her help to make this concert extra special. Thank you, Marisol. So John is going to tell you a few things. I'll tell you a few things. One is that this group in particular, you know, most orchestras practice together every week before they go out in public. We don't do that. Why waste your time with rehearsing to be perfect? Many people here do perform with other orchestras, and you can pay tickets, pay money to have a ticket to go hear them in other professional orchestras, and community orchestras, and that's really special. What we do is different. We gather once a month to play for fun, kind of like you invited us into your living room. And we'd show up with you and we'd all play together. And if we make mistakes and we stop and start, that's part of the experience of Taco. And these are all very brave people because many of them are here for the first time this summer playing with us tonight. And I really want to appreciate all of them and their work to be here tonight with us.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm John Sylvester, and I will be your MC for the evening. Is anyone having any difficulty hearing me? Does anyone care whether they're having any difficulty hearing me? Taco. The terrible adult chamber orchestra. Kind of a misnomer in many ways. First of all, this orchestra is not terrible. They're really quite accomplished. Secondly, their childlike enthusiasm for this music belies the term adult. They may be adults in years, but they are not adult in their enthusiasm for this music. The director, the founder, and the conductor of this orchestra is Kathy Humphreys Smith, who is the person who invited me here to speak to you tonight. I do want to point out to the videographer that I would appreciate your getting my good side. If anyone out there says I don't have a good side, keep it to yourself. The point of music in many ways is for its enjoyment. It's enjoyment by those of you who are our audience tonight and who are here to listen and to help out in some of the songs later in the program, and more particularly for the people that are playing it. And so I hope that you will sit back and enjoy this lovely evening that we have listening to some wonderful music. The first number that will be played tonight is Andante Cantabile. It's a movement from Tchaikovsky's first string quartet, Opus 11. Which came after Opus 10, which he wrote in the late 1800s in the state of Iowa, which many of you know is a hotbed of classical music in this country. It is known as the Andante Cantabile, and you may have heard it played at a wedding. The Italian words tell the musicians to play this in a smooth, singing style at a slow, walking pace. Andante cantabile. Thank you. Kathy Humphreys Smith, who, as I mentioned, is the founder and director and conductor of this group, is a little funny in the head. She's just a slightly crazy person who thinks it's possible, practical, and even fun to get a bunch of folks together to sight read in public. And we've just had, I think, a lovely exposition of that just for this moment. Our second number comes from The Barber of Seville, which is a comic opera by Rossini, one of the great composers of opera music. This is a great opera, and if you get a chance to see it, you should take that chance, whether you've ever seen an opera before or not. The story is as convoluted as any opera. A very wealthy guy, a count, who lives in a palace, wants to be known if he will be loved for the person he is, rather than for his money. So he disguises himself to appear like a regular guy on the street. It's a mixed-up story with a lot of funny mistaken identities. Taco will play the overture for The Barber of Seville. Isn't that lovely?
Let me just add that we're really happy when we all get to the end of a piece like that together.
That's very important. We have a real treat in store for us next. The Click Go the Shears is a traditional Australian bush ballad. The bush is Australian word for the open countryside. The song tells about a day's work for a sheep shearer in the days before machine shears. If you open your programs on the left side, you'll see the words to the chorus of this song, and you can sing along. But please first welcome Marisol de Anda, who will sing this song with the orchestra. Watch Marisol, and she will let you know when to join in.
Old bonny hands, fixed is his gaze on a bare-bellied yaw. Glory if he gets her, won't he make the ringer go? Click go the shears, go click, click, click. Wide is his blow and his hands move quick. The ringer looks around and is beaten by a blow, and curses the old snagger with the bare-bellied yaw. In the middle of the floor, in his old cotton chair, sits the boss of the board with eyes everywhere. Notes well each fleece as it comes to the screen, paying strict attention that is taken off clean. Click go the shears, go click, click, click. Wide is his blow and his hands move quick. The ringer looks around and is beaten by a floor, and curses the old snagger with the bare-bellied yaw. The colonial experienced man, he is there, of course, with his shiny leggings, just got off his horse, looking round the shed like a real connoisseur, with brilliantine and scented soap and smelling like a... Click go the shears, boys, click, click, click. Wide is his blow and his hands move quick. The ringer looks around and is beaten by a blow, and curses the old snagger with a bare-bellied yaw. The tar boy is there, waiting in demand, with his black and tar pot in his tarry hand. Sees one old sheep with a cut upon its back. This is what he's waiting for, it's tar here, Jack. Click go the shears, boys, click, click, click. Wide is his blow and his hands move quick. The ringer looks around and is beaten by a blow, and curses the old singer with the bare-bellied yaw. Now shearing is all over and we've all got our tracks. Roll up your swag, boys, we're off on the tracks. The first pub we come to is there, we'll have a spree, and everyone that comes along is come and drink with me. Click go the shears, boys, click, click, click. Wide is his blow and his hands move quick. The ringer looks around and is beaten by a blow, and curses the old snagger with the bare-bellied yaw. Down by the bar the old shearer stands, grasping his glass in his bonny hands. Fixed is his gaze on a green painted keg. Glory, he'll get down on it before he stirs the leg. Click go the shears, boys, click, click, click. Wide is his blow and his hands move quick. The ringer looks snagger with the bare-bellied yaw. There we leave him standing, shouting for all hands, whilst all around him every shouter stands. His eyes are on the cask, which now lowering fast. He works hard, he drinks hard, and goes to hell at last. Click go the shears, boys, click, click, click. Wide is his blow, and his hands move quick. The ringer looks around, and is beaten by a blow, and curses the old snagger with the bare-bellied yaw. Click go the shears, boys, click, click, click. Wide is his blow, and his hands move quick. The ringer looks around, and is beaten by a blow, and curses the old snagger with the bare-bellied yaw.
Marisol will be singing another song for us right now, a folk ballad called Moreton Bay, which tells of the hardship a convict experienced at the penal settlements around Australia, in particular, the prison at Moreton Bay, Queensland. Marisol will sing this alone for us.
Sunday morning, as I went walking by Brisbane waters, I chanced to stray. I heard a convict his fate bewailing, as on the sunny river bank he lay. I am a native of Erin's land, though he banished now from my native shore. They took me from my aged parents, and from the maiden whom I do adore. I've been a prisoner at Port Macquarie, at Norfolk Island and Emu Plains, at Castle Hill and at Kirstoon Gabby. At all those settlements I've worked in chains, but of all places of condemnation and penal stations in New South Wales, to Moreton Bay I have found no equal. Excessive tyranny each day prevails. For 3 long years I've been beastly treated, and heavy arms on my legs I wore. My back with flogging is lacerated, and often painted with my crimson gore. And many a man from downright starvation lies mouldering now underneath the clay. And Captain Logan, he had us mangled at the triangles of Moreton Bay. Like the Egyptians and ancient Hebrews, we were oppressed under Logan's yoke, till a native black, lying there in ambush, did deal our tyrant with his mortal stroke. My fellow prisoners, be exhilarated that all such monsters such death may find, and when from bondage we're liberated, our former sufferings may fade behind.
Next, we will have a medley of well-known folk songs from our neighbor to the south, Mexico. Many of these tunes are dances. Each region or state in Mexico has different kinds of music and dances from all over the country. You'll recognize many of these songs which have been arranged for a symphony orchestra.
sometimes, once in a while, this kind of thing happens where you hear part of the orchestra doing one thing and the other part of the orchestra doing another thing, and you're looking at the music going, wait a minute, they're ice skating in two different places. So we're going to start that section over.
Thank you. I must confess that I'm somewhat pleased that they made a mistake, because that leads me into admitting that I also made a mistake. For those of you who have been hanging on my every word, you may remember that I suggested that Tchaikovsky wrote the first number in America. That's simply not true. To the best of my knowledge, he never visited Iowa, let alone America. The next number that we will be performing is Dvorak's New World Symphony, which, as the name would imply, was written in America, which was known at that time as the New World. Dvorak is a Czech composer who was living in America when he wrote this work. He wrote this music after listening to many American folk songs, and he called it a symphony from the New World. When Apollo 11 went to the moon in 1969, I have to turn the page now, slowly. Each astronaut, difficult words to remember, got to choose a song to accompany them on their trip. Neil Armstrong chose the New World Symphony. We will now play the fourth movement. was just lovely. Marisol will be joining us again to sing Queensland Drover. In addition to sheep and wool industry, Australia also has a lot of open ranch land for cattle. This next song tells a story of dangerous, long cattle drives lasting months at a time, and cattle drovers happy to return home in good health. Join Marisol for the chorus, which is in your program.
There's a trade you all know well, it's bringing cattle over on every track to the Gulf and back. Men know the Queensland Drover. Pass the billy round, boys, don't let the pit pot stand there, for tonight we'll drink to the health of the every overlander. I'm from the northern plains, where the girls and grass are scanty, where the creeks run dry or 10 foot high, and it's either drought or plenty. Pass the billy round, boys, don't let the pit pot stand there, for tonight we'll drink to the health of the every overlander. There are men from every land, from Spain and France and Flanders. There are well-mixed pack, both whack and wank and wings and overlanders. Pass the billy round, boys, don't let the pit pot stand there, for tonight we'll drink to the health of every overlander. When we've earned a spree in town, we've lived like pigs in clover, and the whole damn check goes down the neck of many a Queensland drover. Pass the billy round, boys, don't let the pit pot stand there, for tonight we'll drink to the health of every overlander. As I ride along the roads, the children race my dander, crying, "Mother dear, take in the clothes, here comes an overlander." Pass the billy round, boys, don't let the pit pot stand there, for night we'll drink to the health of every overlander. A girl in Sydney town, she says, "Don't leave me lonely." I says, "That's sad, but my old pride has room for one man only." Pass the billy round, boys, don't let the pit pot stand there, for tonight we'll drink to the health of every overlander. Now I'm bound for home once more, on a prad that's quite a goer. I can find a job with a crawling mob on the banks of the Marnoa. Pass the billy round, boys, don't let the pint pot stand there, for tonight we'll drink to the health of every overlander.
Wasn't that fun? This last tune is famous, and you probably know it well. It's perhaps the best known of the Australian songs. It's another bush ballad. Lots of the words in this song are Australian slang. The song, of course, is Waltzing Matilda. Waltzing is walking, and a Matilda is a sack of one's belongings slung over one's back. The song tells the story of an itinerant worker, or swag man, making a drink of billy tea at a bush camp and capturing a stray jumbuck, the slang for sheep, to eat. when the Jumbuck's owner, a squatter or landowner, and 3 mounted policemen pursue the swag man for theft, he declares, "You'll never take me alive." He wants to escape capture, so he jumps into a nearby billabong, or watering hole, after which his ghost haunts the site. Please join Marisol for the chorus.
Once a jolly swagman camped by a billabong under the shade of a coolieber tree, and he sang as he watched and waited till his billy bored. "You'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me, waltzin' Matilda, waltzin' Matilda, you'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me." And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy bored. "You'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me." Down came a jumbuck to drink at the billabong. Up jumped the swagman and grabbed him with glee, and he sang as he shoved that jumbuck in his tucker bag. "You'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me, waltzin' Matilda, waltzin' Matilda, you'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me." And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy bored. "You'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me." Up rode the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Down came the troopers, 1, 2, and 3. "Who's the jolly jumbuck you've got in your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me, waltzin' Matilda, waltzin' Matilda, you'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me." And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled. "You'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me." Up jumped a swagman, sprang into the billabong. "You'll never catch me alive," said he, "and his ghost may be heard as you pass by that billabong. Who'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me, waltzin' Matilda, waltzin' Matilda, you'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me." And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy bored. "You'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me, waltzin' Matilda, waltzin' Matilda, you'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me." And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy bored. "You'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me."
Let's have a nice hand for Marisol de Anda. Our next tune was written more recently by contemporary American composer Richard Meyer. You'll hear grand music that's heroic, lyrical, and a march. He wrote this in honor of the 60-year celebration of the California School Band and Orchestra Association, Millennium.
I was so struck by the beauty of that, I thought we were ending, but there's more to that. So.
Well, now you know who the boss is. We'd like to end our concert. Not.
Wait a second.
I'm just going to sit down now. I'm reasonably certain that I'm supposed to be back up here now. We would like to end our concert with one of our favorite tunes, Ashokan Farewell. You'll recognize this music because Ken Burns used it in his Civil War series, and that made this song famous. However, the music was not written in the Civil War era, but was written in 1990 as a goodbye song for a summer fiddle camp in upstate New York. Our cellist, Peggy Dreblow, will start us off with the beautiful theme. Well, that was going to be our last song, but it's not. We're going to do an encore now. It's entirely possible that Kathy would like to say a few words now. They are begging for an encore, Kathy. As an encore, Taco will play a medley of famous classical tunes which have been used in Warner Brothers cartoons. You'll recognize the Barber of Seville theme that we played earlier, but this time you may hear I Shot a Wabbit.
Between each break, we'll catch ourselves, right? Okay. All right. In two, right? 1, 2, ready, go.
Well, I'm tempted to say that's all, folks, but I think we should have a few words from our wonderful leader, Kathy.
If anybody wants to play music, this orchestra is your opportunity. We just have a lot of fun, and we hope that you'll come back and see us again if you're interested in more about the orchestra. And if you know somebody in the orchestra, hopefully you're taking them out for a nice dinner. Thank you, Marisol. Thank you, John. We really appreciate your help. Thank you, Terry. Having professional sound made all the difference in the world. And Fabian for videotaping. And thank you all for coming. And mostly, thank you to the musicians of Taco, who are brave people to do something like this. Thank you all for coming.